So what is Academic Parent-Teacher Team? It's a night that we come together as teachers and staff with our parents of our students, and we're able to set goals for our kids for the rest of the year.
Our focus for our evening was over literacy, and it was kind of over our district goal, which was that each student gets 80% proficiency. And so one of our biggest goals was just that parents and teachers were on the same team, and that we would provide them with materials and strategies to help their kiddo at home.
We split the night off into 4 parts. The 4 parts were fluency, comprehension, sight words, and phonics. And then students with needs in any of those areas, we divided those parents into those groups, and they got to learn more strategies and ways to help their kids become more fluent, or work on sight words, or become better comprehenders, or just get some basic phonics skills that we need.
I think one of the biggest things that we saw that was a huge success was we shared the students' data with them kind of through a graph to kind of show them where their student was. And then they were able to ask a lot of good questions about the type of tests they were taking and why they were taking it. And we actually let them take it to help them know how it might feel. And also when we went into those 4 sections, I felt like it was a smaller group, so they were able to even more ask more questions to help their student. One of the components that I did was fluency, and we talked about accuracy and automaticity, and we just gave the parents some ideas that they could do with accuracy and automaticity so that the student can become fluent. And one of the strategies we used was repeated reading, timed reading, echo reading. We just tried to give the parents really simple but effective ways that they can do this in 5 minutes or less at home. You guys look up here, like I said, the stair step. They've kind of mastered these skills mostly, and we're working up here, okay? And there's a lot of components, like Ms. Mitchell, Ms. Wood said, automaticity, which is they can spit out words quickly, like super simple sight words. They're automatic, they're second nature. And then accuracy is just being able to make sure that there's no errors, that they can correctly pronounce those words. And I would say that is probably one of the harder things, just because to sound out the word started and get that correctly, or they might say something different. So those are kind of the differences. That makes sense, automaticity and accuracy.
Another component was sight words, and we talked about being able to play sight word bingo, play sight word, find sight words around the house, put sight words up around the house, sight word fluency, just a lot of different strategies to help the kids learn sight words, because we know that kids need to know their sight words in order to read, otherwise their brain's taking up too much time focusing on trying to decode a sight word when it's really not decodable.
Mrs. Woods talked about comprehension, and she did like the 5 whys, like who, what, when, where, why, and also just gave some practical games that you could play with comprehension when reading either a short story or a chapter book out loud. And she kind of talked about how comprehension is kind of the top of the ladder, and if you don't have sight words or fluency or the phonics piece, then that makes comprehension really hard.
And the last component was phonics, and Mrs. Mitchell covered phonics for us. She was able to specifically get what the student was needing and help them in that area. So if a student was needing help with diagrams, she gave them ideas on what to do to support diagram learning, or if they were needing short vowels or long vowels or vowel teams, she gave them specific tools to help with that process. The last thing we did was the parents set SMART goals for each student, and they were goals that we'll be progress monitoring throughout each week until we meet again with the parents at the end of the year.